Okay, so I play a lot of Finn, right? And you guys know that I'm considered a top 50 Finn player, and a lot of people get a little bit upset at my takes in this game. I'm not gonna lie to you. But I have my opinions about the current state of the meta, and I have my opinions on who beats Finn, and I have my opinions on who doesn't beat Finn, right? Because a lot of people think that Finn is top tier, and he's F tier, but I think he's a top 5 character. He's still always gonna be F tier needing a buff, but I still think he's top 5. So let's just make that perfectly clear. So I think he's top 5, and I think it's fair to say that. But I'm gonna be talking about what I think his winning matchups are, what I think his losing matchups are, and I'm gonna be surprising a lot of you guys. I'm not gonna lie to you guys. Some people who main specific characters might agree, some might like heavily disagree. But remember, the matchup charts are so subjective. Like, I cannot express to you how subjective matchup charts are. I feel like there can be one guy who's amazing against Gizmo, and then there's a person who like literally just cannot beat a Gizmo no matter what they do. Like, it's just how it, like, it doesn't make you a bad player, it just means you have your weaknesses as a player. And like, I'll just spoil one right now. Like, I've always struggled against Harley. I'm starting to get better about it now, but I literally used to think this matchup was -2. Like, I used to think it was minus 9,000. Like, I thought it was such a losing matchup, but like, I think it was just my playstyle. So anyway, we're just gonna head into it, and I'm gonna tell you guys what I think. So first character, Batman. Batman players, stop saying this character is fucking losing to Finn. It's not true, dude. Let's just go over what makes Batman good, okay? First of all, Sarah 2 is one of the best moves in the game. Literally, it's such a good way to fake out up attack, aka like his up tilt, which is a super good charge move. There's literally the slide tech that helps a lot with dealing with Finn. Approaching him with fair is still extremely viable considering how quick you can be. And I don't care what anybody says, Batman's disadvantage is just as good as Finn's is. I know he has a teleport button, and I get that. But if you look at Batman's airspeed, he can travel the distance a Finn does, like with one grabbing a gem and then throwing it. By the time Finn presses the gem button, grabs it, throws it across the stage, and then teleports to it, Batman is already there. I don't care what you say, and I know you have to use resources, and I get that. But you have to realize the fact that Batman is so fast in the air and he can get on stage just as quick as Finn can. I don't care anybody says that's so true. And I just don't think he has that bad of a disadvantage. And he has grapple. Like, if you don't have resources to come back to stage, then use one special and then put yourself in an advantageous position with grapple, which is also one of the most underrated moves in terms of positioning from any sort of Batman player. Like, I understand using grapple offensively is stupid as hell, but using it to reposition yourself while at disadvantage is really good. And I think Batman players need to realize the fact that, like, if this matchup is even, bro, like, you guys, I swear, like, I have played Batman, and I swear, like, the thing is whenever you're playing Batman versus Finn, you play against a character that is of your caliber, and so you have this sort of disillusionment to where you think that just because a character is just like similar to your strength, that like they must be losing, but it's just not true. Like, they naturally do not counter each other. Batman kills slightly earlier than Finn. They're about the same weight now, maybe Finn's slightly heavier, and Batman does indeed have some options to deal with Finn charging on the ground, and you can easily mix them up with many different special options you have that can either air stall, you have glide, whatever, man. Like, this is a whole debate that I really like want to bring home, because I think that on many ways Batman is still pretty good in ones against Finn, and it's definitely not a terrible pick to have. I think Bugs is +1. A lot of people think it's +2. The main reason I think it's +1 is because I have lost notable players recently on Bugs. I don't know what it is. I don't know if it was desync or whatever, but Bugs has some cheese that he caught me off guard with. I'm not gonna lie to you guys. Even on small maps, like, he could actually give you some work. Like, just looking at Bugs as a character, like, he's one of those characters that have been optimized very far. Many people care about like taking them to a new level, and a lot of people out there are still trying to optimize them, and I understand that. But the thing for me is that I feel as though Bugs has a lot more coverage and options that are underutilized. I feel like there's a lot of Bugs who are like too reliant on his aerials and don't use his utility tools enough, and therefore don't realize how to beat Finn. I think it's +2 if you're sitting there spamming aerials like, dude, why are my moves having priority? But like, if you use tunnel, if you like try to use pie to bait a shoulder charge, if you try to dig for items sometimes whenever he gives you some space. And I get it if he's fully running you down full rushdown. Listen, full rushdown Finn is annoying for most characters, but it's just like Superman. You kind of have to understand like how to counter it, and you have to like pick your options wisely. But if you try to just spam moves out of like on Bugs, just like, you know, Bugs does any other character in this game, you're gonna get punished for it. It's a skill check matchup. I'm sorry, bro. That's just the truth. Harley's another even matchup. I also think this matchup is even because I think it's also a skill check for the Harleys. You can't really leave your Jack in the Box on the ground because genuinely, like, you will get it shoulder charged 90% of the time. So the best way to cover Gem, like, and also a good way to cover, like, overall just a lot of his options is putting Jack in the Box, like, you know, slightly above the ground to where he can't shoulder bash it, but to where if he goes after you charging, he'll probably get hit by it. And or even has to use a gem or an apple to destroy it. And then again, if you really are that sweaty of a Harley and you want to beat Finn by camping him out, you can easily just run a cooldown perk, and it's even easier to camp him out with Jack in the Box. Bat Pill is also a good neutral tool. Hammer is literally one of the best moves in the game, undeniably. And the fact that jab combos into neutral attack, like, and also Nair is just such a good neutral tool. Those two combined make her kill power just literally just so, it's just so much different than Finn. Like, it's just on a completely different level. I think Aria is one of the best kill powers in the entire game. And therefore, like, I just genuinely don't think she loses the matchup, and I don't think it's like anything besides even, to be completely honest, because Finn has tools to screw over Harley, while Harley has plenty of tools that definitely give her an advantage in some ways. Wonder Woman, I think this is no debate. You can even go 1.5, but again, one of the best Wonder Woman players, Davis MV, thinks this matchup is even, but I think a lot of Wonder Woman players have kind of come to the conclusion that it's pretty much in favor of Finn. I've beaten the number 2 Wonder Woman in a set. That was how I got number 5 in the tournament I competed in. GG Next, I think it was 11, was beating the number 2 Wonder Woman. Shout out to you, man. But regardless, I think the main reason why I won the matchup is not because I was a better player, but genuinely because Finn wins the matchup. I think that Finn has a lot of options to counter Wonder Woman, and I think if you run Armor Crush, it's probably +2, because up tilt is even more approachable, or even less approachable for her. So if you're running Armor Crush, you could RU +2, because Fair 2 breaks armor, and also up tilt breaks, you know, I'm putting her +2. I actually believe this matchup's +2, because I genuinely think if you run Armor Crush, down tilt or down special is not a move, right? It's literally not a move. And you also have down attack and nair. Like, you have so many ways to break armor. So down tilt is, or down special, fuck, I keep messing that up. It's just not a move, and that's part of what makes her so oppressive in the, you know, overall game. It's just the fact that she has down special to kind of get her out of like trouble, and it's kind of crazy. So yeah, I don't know. I think that overall, if I had to choose, I think Wonder Woman's +2, or at least plus 1.5. I think this matchup's just super in favor of Finn. I don't know. What do you guys think in the comments below? I think this is either +1 or +2. I want to say +2 just for now, just because I genuinely think this matchup is so heavily favoring Finn. Garnet, I think, is +1, and the reason why I think Garnet's +1 is because Sing is just super good, and up special kills super early, like off cooldown, or on cooldown, so I genuinely think that Garnet does have the tools to deal with Gem. And even though you can throw the Gem and then just teleport at the exact frame, like I think Stealth told me this trick, it's good, but like it's not practical, like, at all. Like, it's really hard to time, and if you mistime it, then you're literally leaving yourself wide open for a punish with electricity on it, like with the empowerment on it. So I think she does have some sort of counterplay to Gem to an extent. I do think she has some pretty good cheese. She's actually decent against Finn on ledge since she is Nair. She actually has some decent traps with Gauntlet. So I think she's pretty good. I just think as Garnet gets more buffs, this will get more and more of an even matchup just because she is Sing. But as of right now, I think Garnet actually is only +1. And you can even argue +1.5. But I think Stealth is going to be out in the comments like +9,000, Finn wins a million times over. So shout out to Stealth if you're watching this. Anyway, Iron Giant, I think, is also +1. I think Iron Giant has a lot of annoying get off me tools. He has bolts, he has fair, he has the moon jump, which he can do to kill you at like 40. He just has some crazy tech. And also, I just think people are trying really hard to optimize him, considering how like viable he's been in the meta for quite a long time. Not in ones, but just in general. So Skizzy and Inside Out are showing that if you actually use your brain with this character, he can genuinely be really solid. And actually, I think that even though he is only +1 and losing to Finn, like, I do think that honestly, if it weren't for how good of a character he was, this would be a -2 matchup, or sorry, a +2 matchup for Finn. But I think he just has a lot of tools as a character that makes the matchup a little bit uncertain sometimes, and makes me always have to play on my toes, not gonna lie to you. I think Black Adam's another +1. I do think the main issue with Black Adam is that he's not like every other character in this game. He actually has whiff lag. Like, if you miss a move, you're going to, like, you know, be in hits, or like you're going to be struggling for a second. No doubt in my mind. So I think like Black Adam is one of those characters you have to be very precise with, and people who are really good at dodging his attacks will like catch him a lot, and you'd be able to punish him a lot. I officially played like I think my second or third set against Steve Nasama, who's actually number 3 Black Adam. After playing against him enough, I think I need to learn the matchup more because I'm sure he's way more experienced in Black Adam versus Finn than I am Finn versus Black Adam. So I feel like that's probably why he's winning a lot against me most of the time. So I do feel like I need to learn this matchup a little bit more, but I do think Finn definitely wins it. Considering just how strong Finn's kit is, I do think that Black Adam naturally just doesn't have the tools to compete. Our first losing matchup, Jake. I think he's either -5 or -0.5 or -1. I think the main thing that makes Jake losing 1000% is the fact that in many ways, what Jake does is uncontestable. All he really has to do is dodge your moves, and he will get 30 to 40% out of them every time, or just a free kill. Like skateboard, nair, into many other things, like skateboard, I think what skateboard, nair, bite, or whatever people do. Like the combos he can do and pull off are just so high damage. His neutral is so insane, and even though he is pretty buggy sometimes, he has so many tools to beat Finn. And I think that gem is really not that big of a concern to Jake, as long as you are careful and dodge and be aware of the opponent Finn's like habits. I think it's a skill check matchup for Jake, because I think if you're not good at handling gem, maybe it's even, but I think Jakes who play against enough Finns will definitely be able to pick up on their habits and be able to shut down gem before he can let them snowball into more leads. So I think I'm kind of stuck between -0.5 and -1, but because I think it would be -0.5 offline or even offline, but I think -1 online. And since a lot of people are watching this for online, I'm gonna put -1, but let me know what you guys think in the comments below. I think you could argue either -0.5 or even for LeBron. I think even, just because LeBron is not as insane as he used to be. I think if you wanted to argue that while LeBron was at his peak, you could definitely argue this 1000% because of how early he kills, because of his pretty insane hitboxes, his loops and stuff like that, you not being able to shoulder charge his stuff. He actually does have some pretty good counterplay to Finn in general, and I think that they're a pretty awesome matchup to watch. The one thing that does counter LeBron, though, is that I think Apple and Gem both destroy ball, which means that you do have options to counter ball. The thing is, though, is that like you don't really want to waste a lot of your coins. You want to make sure that you use them in really good ways. So, having to use 100 on Gem is a big deal, and that definitely puts into perspective how much people have been able to advance this character. And yeah, I just want to keep seeing what people do with him, because overall right now, I went from thinking he was this tier to now I think he's this tier. So what do you guys think? Let me know. You guys are going to absolutely hate me for this one. Morty is an even character against Finn. I know. Don't click off the video. I understand. You guys, you Morty people in the comments, you guys are, typing on your keyboards. But Morty's supposed to be patient, bro. Like if he gets rained down by Finn. I understand, I get it. But what I'm saying to you is that first of all, you have fair, which basically has priority over most of Finn's moves, and also comes out really quickly. Therefore, you can punish him and easily go for Sair, Dare, Laser, or extenders that a lot of Finn or Morty's can go for. So, I don't know, man. I think this matchup is even. And I understand that if Finn runs you down and pushes a really strong advantage and gets 60% over you, it could be frustrating. And I think that's why a lot of Mortys lose off the bat, is because a lot of the time, they genuinely, just let Finn push a crazy advantage onto them, and then don't, give themselves the opportunity to win. The biggest thing with Morty is you need to start out explosive, and you need to be able to get him off you. And if you're not patient and you can't get him off you, you're going to lose. I literally have pretty even matchups with some of the best Mortys that I play against pretty consistently, and I genuinely am convinced that he has enough tools to deal with Finn. And the biggest thing about Morty people don't talk about is that Laser is unreactable. Maybe if you know your opponent really well and you know their habits, maybe you can see Laser coming. But if you're playing against a normal Morty who may not have the same habits you pick up on from maybe your best friend who plays Morty, right? Then you're not going to be able to catch on to those habits. And therefore, I just feel like since Laser is pretty much unreactable, and since it's pretty much a guaranteed combo, which usually helps Mortys come back from the Finn, or can't come back from Finn a lot. If you just play Finn a lot more passive, this is going to be a losing matchup for you. If you really try to find a mix or at least try to rush them down, you're going to at least be able to make it even. So I just think this character has so many options to deal with Finn, whether it be fair, whether it be, having a spaceship to deal with down tilt, having Portal, which, even though it does get broken by armor a lot, it's a really great way to counter specific aerials. People throw out a lot on Finn. And overall, just he has good options. It's just slept on. It's another controversial one. Rick is literally the only character that can abuse Finn's disadvantage. Gopo has talked about this before. I think that Rick is the only character that can abuse Finn's disadvantage, because he does have answers to Gem, because he can destroy Gem, he can contest it, but he also has some of the best ledge camping moves in the absolute, like, absolutely no doubt in the game. He has, you know, down air and up special, which is extremely quick, and basically is a double coverage that kills so early on ledge, it's not even funny. He has amazing portal setups, and B-Hands, like I said, I played against him today, probably the best Rick, and he's showing how good this actually is. It's insane how strong Rick setups can be in the right hands, and I think because not many people are using Rick setups online because of how unreliable they can be, you might not be able to see how strong it actually is, but I guarantee you in a real matchup, I think that Rick would actually be even with Finn, no doubt in my mind, because I think there's something to be said about the fact that you can definitely you know, gimp him. You can also challenge his disadvantage. You can deal with Gem pretty well. You have good poke damage with laser. It's just a good character overall, and so that's why I think it's even or plus 0.5 for Finn. Shaggy's definitely a +1 for Finn. I used to think this was a losing matchup, but well, like, you know, back when Finn was like not that great, but now Shaggy has been tuned down and Finn has kind of become a lot more prominent. Therefore, I really do think that Shaggy actually, like, genuinely, I feel safe saying that Finn definitely wins this matchup by a pretty small margin. And the main reason why is mostly because he does have an answer to a lot of Shaggy's BS. A lot of people hate Shaggy Dare, Shaggy Fair, etc., etc. But I think that at least Finn does have some answers to these really broken aerials. And I do think that whenever he has charge, you can really bait it out since you have so much mobility. So you can easily like fake them out because you're fast and you also have mobile tools in order to bait people to expect a free, you know, side special, a free jab into up special, which you can DI out of, by the way. So anyway, as this character's become a little bit weaker, the matchup's also improved a little bit for Finn. Stripe is amazing and all, but I do think that Finn has a slight edge on him. And the main reason why Finn has a slight edge on him is there actually is a lot of benefit to charging on the ground versus Stripe. Also, you know, if you don't pull out Gem and you're like, you know, a little bit more patient about pulling it out and wait for your Stripe's movements, and again, you engage in the skill check, like basically what the point of the, you know, and Finn definitely does have some sort of edge whenever it comes to this matchup. He can just side special the Buzzsaw straight up, and even though it is a little bit more unwinnable on maps like Tree Fort because he can literally just win neutral by putting Buzzsaw on one of the platforms, or he can be on Cromulons and win neutral by literally just putting his Buzzsaw on one of the platforms. I do think these matchups would make it even, like these maps in specific, but I think on any map that's not like super favored for Stripe, I think this is definitely a +1 matchup. Then you could argue a plus 0.5, whatever you want to do, but I do think that this character is very map dependent on whether or not he beats Finn because of just how strong platforms are with Buzzsaw. Velma's +1 as well. The reason why Velma isn't +2 is because like her ability to just delete Gem is so good, and it's basically like his unpunishable shoulder bashes whenever it hits a projectile. So overall, even though there's very little Velmas in 1v1s, I do think that, you know, it's not +2 because she does have really good counterplay to Gem. She can kind of just shut it down. I do think that she also, I'm pretty safe to say her boxing tools are still pretty damn good. So she does have hella options to deal with whatever Finn is doing to her. Even though it's hard for her to contest charging sometimes, it is very hard to react to Velma projectiles, and Megaphone can be kind of tough to deal with sometimes and can bait a, you know, a push from Finn, forcing an aerial and forcing a 50-50, therefore making Velma start her combo game. So arguably +1, +2. I do think that just because she can deal with Gem and just because she does have ways to land, considering she has a lot of crazy options like camera, like down air, etc., especially down air, I think Velma's a pretty good character in ones, but I actually just want to put +2 at this point. Raindog versus Finn is like really hard for Raindog. Like, I just don't think the matchup is that good, like, at all. I think it's pretty sad that unfortunately Raindog's kind of in position where he doesn't really have the zoning tools that really makes the other matchups so oppressive for other characters. I think, you know, Finn does have the ability to literally just charge at him the entire game. And if you have good reactions as Finn, which I personally wish I had better reactions, but I still have pretty good reactions, right? And I noticed that Raindog is really easy to just run down most of the time. Like, and unfortunately, after you play the matchup enough and you kind of realize what Raindog's game plan is, I do feel like it's just extremely predictable to just run him down and easily be able to just, you know, counter and anti whatever he does. It's just crazy. Like, Finn does have a lot of built-in counterplay to Raindog, and even though Gem isn't like super crazy against Raindog since he can just delete it with most projectiles, he still does have like, Finn does just have so many good things he can do against Raindog and just rack up so much damage for free. Aria's a -0.5 or -1. The reason why is literally because, I mean, Mirrorman explained this, like, I think dash dancing and going for jab or one of Aria's like combo starter moves, like playing very slow with her, is nearly unbeatable. And I know that you might think Gem, but Aria is so small and so light that you can't combo her. This is a non-talked about thing. People don't talk about with Aria. People immediately think, oh, you know, she's the lightest character, therefore she dies the earliest. No, bro, the thing that makes her so good, despite being so light, is because she's hard to combo. She's a small hitbox. All of her get off me tools are insanely good. And also, not to mention, she's light. So she falls out of your combos all the time. So not to mention, you also have one of the best moves in the game, Dagger, which literally is just an instant blink to an opponent, which isn't a 50-50 anymore. It doesn't matter if you dodge it. If you teleport to someone with Dagger who's in the air, especially if you're below them, they do not have time to dodge and then get out of that situation. I think it's if you neutral dodge. So you have to dodge left or right. And a lot of the time, this is going to put you in disadvantageous scenarios. Therefore, Dagger, no matter what you do, no matter what you dodge, or if you throw out a move, it's still such a great option, especially against Finn. And I'm telling you guys, this character, for how much effort you put in compared to Finn, I think Aria is a lot easier than Finn. I think it's just genuinely a losing matchup. This one's a little bit too controversial for me, because I did play the number 2 Steven in bracket, and it changed my mind a lot on what I think about this character. Yeah, I'll +1 it. I'll +1. I was gonna say even, but no, it's such a stretch. Like, if you just even look at like the matchup, like the matchup chart of Steven, like, you know, and look at who he loses to. I mean, as much as he does counter Gem, as much as he does have good setups, you know, as annoying as certain Steven moves can be to deal with as Finn does have the advantage, and it's just a kit thing. Especially if you're running Armor Crush, Nair landing isn't nearly as good as it should be, or I'm sorry, it isn't nearly as good as it usually is. And I just think that Steven just doesn't have the answers to what Finn does. And charging is just so good against Steven, especially if he doesn't have his shields up. And even if he does have his shields up, which I will say, if you're on a small map and he has a good shield setup, it's extremely hard to approach him, and you can play very patiently on him and just wait for a Finn to approach and just boom and do 40%. And that's what happened to me, and that's why I lost my set against that Steven Universe player, is because they knew how to set up. And part of me wants to say, okay, well, wait, maybe that makes it a losing matchup. Part of me also wants to say, like, well, at the same time, I mean, you have to kind of realize the fact that Steven Universe, bro, like, come on, like, there's no way he actually competes with Finn, who's one of the best characters right now. Superman at the top level is even. I think the reason why that's even is because, first of all, he does still have abilities to 50-50 you. He moves, and his frame data is so ridiculously broken that you don't even have time to grab Gem in between hit stun, or in between strings of the combo. So you literally can't Gem against him. So don't say, oh, but just Gem whenever he knocks you off stage, because you can't. And don't say use Gem to approach him in neutral, because a good Superman with good reactions will just ice breath it every single day of the week. His combo game is super good. Sniper Punch as a combo ender does so much damage, it's not even funny. It literally adds on, like, I think 1.5 times what a fully charged Finn attack does from just one Sniper Punch. So you can land that once in your combo. You already made a really saucy combo that did a lot of damage and can probably put them in enough of a disadvantage state to be able to knock them out. So overall, I do think that Superman's actually even, just because the way the top 5 Supermans play him literally has shown the fact that, like, you can make a character who's like a rushdown character who's relying on a projectile like Batman and Finn, you can actually make them, you know, look even in comparison to Superman. It's crazy. So yeah, Taz is +1. It's just, again, it's just his kit. It's the same thing with Steven. Steven and Taz just do not have the tools to deal with such a genuinely disjointed character in many ways, and he has so many disjoints and crazy hitboxes that these two characters just cannot get in. And realistically, as much as Taz does have game potential, and he can take games over Finn if he does get really good exchanges, I just think that over my experience of playing against Ova and stuff like that and practicing against Taz players, I just don't think they have the advantage. I mean, you literally have, like, Finn literally has the button that is permanently Taz's down special without ammo. It's just so crazy. So I don't know. Like, I just think, you know, Taz's stubbiness, it just makes it so hard for him to get on such a disjointed character. Tom and Jerry's also a +1. I know there's a lot of characters in +1, I understand that. But anyway, Tom and Jerry's also a +1, simply for the fact that, like, genuinely, he can just run down Tom and Jerry and not give a fuck. Like, he doesn't have to care. And even though Tom and Jerry has a lot of really insane sauce they can do, and whenever they're, like, on specific maps, they do really well. But the main problem is that, like, the map pool with Tom and Jerry versus Finn is so dreadful, and that's the main reason I quit Tom and Jerry, is literally because their map pool. The character is so unplayable versus, like, maps like, or like on maps like platforms or Tree Fort. where like to the point where it's actually like it's almost unwinnable. And the same with Cromulons. Like if there's a platform in the middle or near the middle that's going to disrupt jump or sorry, a short hop slingshot, you literally have almost no way to break neutral anymore, because it's literally one of the best ways to break neutral, and it cuts your options in like half. So you basically just have to rely on like jab or like, you know, other things like that to kind of like get some damage in neutral. Therefore, I just don't think the Tom and Jerry is that good against Finn. As my final character, again, my final +1 is Gizmo. I just think that right now Gizmo is kind of in a position where Finn can easily just, you know, pressure him a lot harder than Gizmo can pressure him. Popcorn camping is not nearly as good as it used to be. I think when popcorn camping was a thing, it was even or minus 0.5. But now finally that's nerfed. And, you know, even there's only one Gizmo player really showing how good he is. I don't think it's +2, simply because I genuinely just don't see what would make it. Actually, you know what? I want to say +2. Like, I just don't think Gizmo has it in him anymore, actually. Like, now that I rethink it, like, I genuinely just, I'm not, like, part in believing that Gizmo can just have a chance to, like, beat Finn. I just don't think that happens. So, I'm going to do a quick rearrangement real quick and make sure I'm, like, sure in my opinions, and then we'll go from there. Yeah, that's it. All right. Yeah, again, I'm going to piss off some Harley players with this one. I'm sorry, guys. The matchup is slightly losing. And the main reason why, and the main and only reason why, is first of all, she does have gem counterplay. There's ways she can counter it with side special and stuff like that. Down tilt, people say, oh, what are you gonna do against Finn that's, you know, charging up tilt? And that's like the main problem people have with Finn in the meta right now, is up tilt is just too hard to contest. You know who can contest up tilt better than anybody else in the game? Harley Quinn. That's who it does it, right? Her down air is, like, with glove control on, is literally one of the best answers in the game to up tilt. Jack in the Box, like I said, counters gem by a pretty decent margin because it covers part of the space, and it makes his air combos a lot worse because he has to carry you horizontally. You cannot backpack against this character. I repeat, you cannot backpack against this character. Okay. Fair and jab are, again, not super crazy contestable moves for Finn that you can, like, easily deal with. And again, if they're just spamming there, you can't do much. So again, that's why I think the matchup is definitely actually slightly losing now that I think more about it. Okay, there we go. That's my final opinions on the matchup tier list. I know it was extremely long today, guys. I wanted to go deeply into detail because there's a lot of people that disagree with my opinions on the current matchup tier list for Finn. Let me know what you guys think in the comments below. Do you guys think I'm crazy? Do you guys think I maybe should have put more in the losing, more in the winning? Let me know what you think, and I'll see you guys next time. Peace out.